Hello and welcome to the Plain English Finance Podcast, the podcast dedicated to helping you make smart financial decisions. I'm your host, Trey Bino, certified financial planner and chartered investment manager. I'm a financial planner with TCU Wealth Management and Visa Wealth. For more details or to send in your questions, check out the show notes at my website, treybino.ca/podcast. And if you want to learn more about me, start with episodes 1 and 2. Okay, let's get into the 8th episode. So this episode is about budgeting, but it's a little bit different. There's so much budgeting advice for people with struggling, people on low income. So I'm going to do a series on just like a few episode series on budgeting with higher incomes. So this episode is about budgeting for people with a household income from between $200,000 to $400,000 a year.
Okay, sounds good.
And I'm joined by my wife.
Hello.
Which you've heard.
Yes, still here.
Perfect. Okay. So, Cease, what do you think changes when somebody kind of crosses that threshold, when they maybe go from, $100,000 of household income, so that's like a couple earning $50,000 each, to $200,000. Well, let's use like $300,000 as a good middle ground. So they're each earning around $150,000. What do you think changes in their lives?
I'm like, try to think about the way we budget, trying to think, what would we do differently, or why do we do things a certain way? I feel like it would work for anybody, so I'm kind of struggling what would be different.
Well, not with the budgeting. What do you think changes in their life?
Oh, I guess depending on the people, they might want to spend more. Their lifestyle inflation, not that that's a good thing, but it could happen. They can afford more, so if it's within their means, they could have more things, more wants, more needs. I don't know. What changes? Oh, taxes.
That's a big one. Yeah.
What else? I don't know. Like, I'll let you know when I get there one day.
You're in your maternity leave now, so.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. So there's a bunch of things that change. The way that the stresses around money change.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So, like, when you're investing, I've heard you talk a lot about when people who have invested $1,000 and the markets drop, the dollar figure moving is a lot smaller than if you have invested $2, $3, $4, $5, $1 million, whatever. Those market swings are a lot more scary because the dollar figure is higher.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not losing, $100 on 1,000. You could be losing $10,000, $20,000, whatever, however much you have invested in, depending on the market swing. So maybe that too, if they're investing, it's like, okay, now I'm stressed about money because I have more of it, but I could also lose more of it. Maybe.
Yeah, I think, that's a good point. We'll cover that in investing for this for this asset
Hey,
level.
you said what changes when they make that.
It's true. That is something that does change. But that's not based on income. That's based on the amount that somebody has accumulated, right? So, but yeah. So, income-wise, the biggest shifts are, yes, they can spend more, and you very quickly in this income range, you very quickly see where somebody's initial intentions are. Like, when people talk about if you're a saver or a spender, this is where issues with that crop up. So, for example, if you are a saver, you will find that you are suddenly accumulating too much cash. Simply way too much cash. You're there wondering, what am I doing with it? If you are a spender, you're finding out that you are still not being able to save as much. When you earned $50,000 and you said, I'll save later when I'm earning more, suddenly you're earning more, later is now, and you still ain't being able to save, This is that range where you probably realize that you have a problem if you're a spender.
And a problem
because
if you're a saver, it sounds like too.
yeah, there's problems
Whatever
both.
your
There's both sides.
behavior tendency is going to show up more now that you have more money.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. Which is why there's plenty. And Saskatchewan is a prime example of that because we have a very high number of people that work in natural resources that make a lot of money and have a lot of really bad habits to go with it. Just the environment that is there is very prone to overspending.
Right.
So I wanted this episode just to be around some key principles that you should take away when you're looking and determining, if you're budgeting properly. Because don't get it wrong, you should be budgeting at every income level. There is not an income level on the planet that you do not have a budget, that you shouldn't have a budget. Those numbers might be really big. If you're Elon Musk, numbers are really big.
He's like, oh, my grocery budget is
He doesn't care about his grocery budget,
$400,000.
but he does care about how much money he's taking out of his personal stuff to put towards a new business venture, right? Like, you still need, again, numbers are bigger. In auditing, like for financial audit or financial audits, when you're like auditing a non-for-profit or whatever, there is a number that they come up with. I actually can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Maybe somebody can remind me. I'll remember as soon as you turn off the mic.
Yeah.
But it is basically materiality. That's it. So it's basically at what point does the number not really matter? Like if the books are out, you remember like when you was a teller, and like if you was out a few pence, it's like, who cares?
Cents.
Canada.
Not the UK.
Sorry. A few cents. If you was out a few cents, nobody cares, right? Like it's just like, you just write it off and move on. But if you're out $100, it's a little bit different. If you're out $1,000, it's a little bit different.
A lot different. They were like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. They'll put a lot of resources towards finding it. And it's exactly the same when as your income goes up, the materiality changes. So whereas before you was maybe concerned, or you should be concerned over what you're doing with $10, $100, as the income goes up, that materiality changes. But what can happen is that materiality gets too high too quickly because, for example, let's use $300,000. If you're earning $300,000, that's about $180,000, $185,000 if you're earning, if one person is earning that. That's what you get net. So that's kind of like roughly what will be hitting your account.
Yeah, after taxes and
After
everything.
taxes and everything.
That's for one person.
That's for one person. For two people, it's about $200,000 between a couple if they're both earning $150,000. That is not $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
I know it may seem like a lot still. It is not $300,000.
Yeah.
And so somebody that says or thinks to themselves, I have a $300,000 income, I'm going to spend I can spend $300,000 a year. No, you can't. It is very, very different once you factor in taxes and things like that. It is not the same. This is a trap that actually a lot of business owners fall for, where as soon as they are suddenly dealing with like pre-tax numbers, like they'll think to themselves, my company made $1 million of revenue, right? And they're like, okay, well, I can go spend $80,000 on a car, not realizing that revenue don't mean anything, first of all, for a business. Like, yeah, it's nice to look at. Profit margin is what you need. Like if the company has $1 million of revenue and has $1.2 million of expenses, that's a bad company. It's a really bad company.
But the
much
revenue.
better. Yeah, much better to have $500,000 of revenue and $300,000 of expenses, right? Like, obviously, depending on what area the business is in and stuff, but like for most small type businesses. So and that happens very quickly with people as their income grows. They just think they can spend all this amount, and then taxes come along and they kind of realize that no, we can't. They also have other, typically like their goals get a little bit bigger, which means that requires more capital to achieve these goals. Something that very often happens is they increase their lifestyle. Like you spoke about lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation in and of itself isn't necessarily wrong. It's when it happens without any intentionality, right? So when it just happens and suddenly you wake up one day like, where where did the money go? Why am I spending so much? And you have nothing to show for it. It's not like you can say, okay, me spending money here made me happier, right? This was a good decision to increase our spending in this area. And that is what you need to keep as your income grows when you get to this range.
It's making me think of, there's a guy who we've seen on YouTube, and I think he has a Netflix show, and maybe I shouldn't say this, maybe it's copyrighted, but anyway, he asks people, what's your rich life?
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, once I have this money, I've made it, I can do whatever I want. But it's like, they'll do these things, and I feel like it doesn't actually bring them any happiness. It's just what everybody else does. They're like, oh, look at this fancy car I drive. Look at this, like, super nice house. And I went on this vacation, blah, blah, blah. And then they're looking back thinking, like, it's better to be intentional, even if you have that income, right? Like, if your income's going up, don't just spend because you have the income. You should think about what you want.
And in this range, you still need to think about it. This is not
I made it money.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it is. Like, don't get me wrong.
No, it's not.
I mean, no, but they should be happy. I don't want to make anyone feel bad.
This podcast is about the people that are in this range. So yes, I know there's lots of people not in this range. There's also a lot of people that are in this range. This is the vast majority of dual income professional households will sit in this range. This is not a unachievable range for a lot of people. A lot of people can hit this range with any level of intentionality towards any career path that they choose, as long as they are intentional about where they're spending their time. If you choose, this is beside the point, but if you choose to sit in a job, and for sure, if that's your goal and you don't want to grow, you don't want to learn, you don't want to do those things, that's fine. But then there's consequences for that, right? But if you are in any job, any field, and you learn as much as you possibly can, and you truly try to master your craft, you'll hit this range. You hit this range if you're a plumber. You hit this range if you're an electrician. You'll hit, like, it's not an impossible range at all.
Yeah.
To hit. But that's beside the point. Yeah. Key principle though, this is still a level where you have to be intentional. But I think every level you have to be intentional. But this is an area that you can get yourself into a lot of trouble in. There's a lot of people that hit this range and then suddenly go out and buy a $200,000 truck or a $150,000 truck. And not just that, they also have the cabin to go along with it and the house, because the bank will give you the mortgage, you have a high income, great, give you whatever you want. But having an $800,000 house and suddenly a $150,000 truck, and then you have the cabin that's, $300,000, you have nothing left over. There's nothing left over. Everything's gone.
All the bills are
gone.
And then if stuff starts needing upkeep, or like the utilities
taxes,
are more, taxes, property taxes, all that,
it's all more. So this is still an area that you need to be really intentional. The way I thought about it when I was kind of writing some notes for the episode is, I would say like a good baseline is, in this range, you should be putting at least 20% of your net take-home pay towards increasing your net worth, improving your net worth. So that should be going towards investments, not paying off your mortgage. Very clear difference. Like going towards like assets. And I view assets, depending on the topic, context is a little different. But for this sake, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. So not 20% going towards paying off your cabin. Not 20% going towards paying off your car, your truck. Not 20% going to your mortgage. 20% going to something that is going to put more money into your pocket.
Okay.
Real estate, investment properties, the markets, a business, whatever it is. Don't care what it is. At least 20% of your take-home pay should be going towards that. And if you can't do that in this range, you're overspending.
That's Simple a good rule of thumb.
And I think for people with big goals, you could probably be aiming for more than that. For people with smaller goals that just want to get by and not screw things up too bad, 20%.
Fair enough.
I know it sounds like a lot of money, but like on $200,000, that's $40,000
a year to just put away. Yeah, to build your net worth.
Like to build your net worth. That's, I don't know.
It's very doable.
It's extremely doable.
Yeah.
It's extremely doable. Yeah. So that's what I would say. That's kind of that in this range. There are a few things that I would caution people against, though. So one of them is removing the relationship between income and spending. So there's something that is consistent through all the levels of income when you're budgeting and again, really important because the bad habits really come out in this bracket. But removing the relationship, so when money comes in, having like a system for it, having a place that it goes, being able to know and select where your money is going, I guess would be a good way. And again, the numbers get bigger. The amount that you might allocate towards play money might be bigger. Great, cool, fine, doesn't matter. The fact is that you're allocating it. That's what matters.
You're making a decision before and not just saying, oh, my paycheck hit my account. And now that I see it all in my checking account, I'm just going to go blow it because I feel like it that day and that time. You made that decision before saying, okay, I'm going to give myself whatever, $5,000-$10,000 to go blow on whatever I want.
Well, you can't afford $10,000 a month at this.
Oh, not
this
sorry, I
income.
didn't mean a month. I just meant like maybe a year. I don't know. I was just throwing out a random number.
Yes. But yes,
I didn't say per month. I just want to be...
The point is that you are making the decision beforehand.
Yeah.
And I know people, there's always there's so many excuses, tons of excuses. Stop with the excuses. There's no excuse. You have plenty of income to achieve big financial goals. You have plenty of income if your goal is to send your kids to college, to do that. Plenty of income. It's about how you choose to allocate it and what you choose. You can go on a really, really, really nice vacation every single year. What you can't do is go on a really, really nice vacation every single year, have a cabin, have an $800,000, $1 million home, and send your kids to school and retire. You can't do all of those things with this income. There's not enough to go around. You will always feel stressed.
Yeah.
So at this level, you shouldn't be stressed around those things. You're doing too much.
Yeah.
I know it feels like you might want to. You should be able to afford it. You can't afford it. It's not. You don't have enough income. Like it is a high amount of income. It is not an unlimited. Do not have an unlimited supply of income.
Right.
So that's one thing. If, however, you are a saver, so that's for the spenders. If you are a saver, a little different. My goal for you would be to stop stressing about the emergencies that you once stressed about. So often what happens is when people are savers, it's because, like either they truly, I don't know what to spend the money on. That's one category. And then you need a system to make sure you're getting that cash to work. Right? You should not be sitting on a whole year's worth of expenses in your checking account. Shouldn't happen. If that's happening, you need a better system. You're doing something wrong. But for those people that are saving over fear, it does get to a point where it's a case of, okay, you need to switch. You need to switch this dial from saving to investing because what you're worried about is no longer an issue. Good example, a furnace breaks, right? So at this income, you have $15,000, or it says like $200,000 a year hitting your account, right? It doesn't matter if your furnace breaks, if you're a saver. Because if you're a saver, you've already you're likely controlling your expenses.
Yeah.
Why are you smiling?
Because I'm such a worst case scenario person. So I'm like, I
You
feel like you're
definitely
talking at me, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
what if this? What if that? What if the house burns down? What if? Yeah.
Then you'll deal with it. Like it's just you do not need to plan for every single scenario, and the money that you use for that scenario certainly doesn't need to come from a savings account. Like
that's a bad habit of mine. I love to like store cash
You and
in
many
random
others.
accounts, and you're always like, how many? Like, where is this cash, and what are you doing with it? I'm like, what if I?
I always say, what if you what? What if you what? What? Tell me. Please tell me what could happen.
Listen.
Every single property gets all their AC units and their furnaces blown at the same time. Plus, we need to go on a vacation. plus I lose my job for 6 months and need to find something else to work, plus both cars break down. You need to plan for that.
You never know. You never know. And I'm ready with all my checking accounts.
Yeah, great.
With the bits of cash here and there.
Yeah. So if you are that way inclined, you don't need to worry about those things. Those things, if you have you should have accessible money, right? You can, like, if those things happened, I would pull money out of our portfolio, right, to pay for that.
Yeah, or
It
like use
doesn't
a line
need
of
to
credit
sit.
or
Yeah.
whatever makes sense in that situation.
And that's actually what we use for an emergency fund. I hate cash just sitting around doing nothing. So I limit the amount of cash that we are allowed to have. And you'll still go over it. But
I'll just say I'm at max capacity all the time.
try to limit it more. But we set a ceiling on the amount of cash, and then I make sure that we revisit it often. Fortunately, I'm very strict with the amount of cash that I keep. Personally, the way that we run our finances, and I teach others to run it, is that we have everything, like everything is joint, but there's money that you get to spend, like you get an allowance, I get an allowance to spend on whatever we want.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a house account that all the bills get paid out of. Even the allowance gets paid out of that account. Groceries, all of it. Our entire cost of living comes from this house account. I feed the house account with our income, and then everything else gets invested.
Yep.
So that the income account is a separate checking account, is where all our income goes into, and that goes down to zero every single month.
I know, that stresses me.
We have everything in our house account in it.
I'm like,
it's not, yeah.
What if you guys, we're gonna have an overdraft fee?
For what?
Yeah. It's just irrational. I know. You're talking about fear and stuff. I'm like, all our friends joke that I'm always like, I'm scared. You know, I let fear run me, and it's not good, but it's true. So,
but that is a change that needs to happen, right? Because it causes you undue stress that you do not need to be worried about at that income level. So it's important that you move past that, right?
Yeah. And having the plan I shouldn't say like I'm laying awake at night scared of what ifs and and what could go wrong and what we'd use to fix it. Not at all. But yeah, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Sorry, mom brain. I'm like, it's gone.
Okay.
I don't know where I was going.
Okay. So yeah, to separate the relationship between spending, stop stressing. The other one was to lose individual spending categories for personal spending. So the way that we operate is that she gets an allowance, I get an allowance that we can spend. It's not for me to tell Cecil what she wants to use her money for, and it's not for her to tell me what I want to use mine for. What we don't do though, and because people overcomplicate budgeting, is we don't have a separate category for clothing, right? We don't have a separate category for Tankfastic sweets, which by the way are great if you're looking for sweets.
If anybody wants to make Trey happy, if you're like, sweets. Oh, I just want to make Trey's day, just go to Walmart. In the candy aisle, there's a Haribo packet, and they're called Tankfastics. They're his favorite. You'll win him over.
I'm now gonna get clients bringing them in, hoping that it makes me happy.
Well, let's be reasonable here. He's already doing his best. That's not going to change anything.
Yeah, but I don't have a separate budget item for those things, right? Like it's like you are in charge of yours. You decide how you want to spend it. I'm in charge of mine. I decide how I want to spend it. Once it's gone, it's gone. If we wanted to increase it, we have that conversation at the beginning of the year, and we review our entire budget for the year, and we don't think about it. Yeah, doesn't matter. Don't think about it. And that's an important part in this income range, is to make sure that you have systems in place, because it's very likely that your brain power would be better used somewhere else.
Yeah. I think that mental real estate thing is such a huge, people talk about it a lot now, mental load, all those things. Like, if that is taking up your brain power, Oh man, I feel like that would just be exhausting
Yeah.
to constantly be thinking about. Even if you're not aware you're thinking about it, there's no way it's not in the back of your head. Like even subconsciously, where if you don't have any system or any budget, yeah, I can't imagine. It would someone like me, it would stress me out so much. I don't know if that's the same for a spender, if it causes them that emotion,
Well,
but
there'll be part of it because you know that like there's the guilt side of it. I see that a lot where people like, or they'll come to me and they say, "Oh, I did this. I know what you're gonna say about it." Right? It's like
yeah, like the
you
shame they might
yeah,
feel
you
about it.
clearly know that. And there's some people that I'm like, no, heck, what? Like that's typically the saver types where it's like, oh, I did this, and you're like, what do you mean? Why are you upset about that? Go spend more. Like the only reason I'm taking so much money from you, from your accounts, is because you don't spend it. If you want to spend it, go spend it. You've met your own targets. You met your goals.
Yeah.
Like now it's lifetime to enjoy it. Like ease up. You don't have to be so worried about it. So it really depends. It's funny because people will make so many excuses for the way that they manage money,
Hmm.
and I can very easily like when people make excuses, I just think of all the people that are in their same income level, completely different financial position,
Yeah,
like completely different, and I'm just like, people that you think this isn't a choice, I'm telling you now,
it
it's a
is.
choice.
Yeah, and
You're
but the
making
problem is when you
decisions.
don't make the way the way we do it is we make the decisions all at once.
Yeah.
What happens is people, I've heard people and like talk to people who do this where let's say convenience is a big thing for them. So we're going to get like food out or something. And it's like, "Oh, we'll pay for delivery." But they haven't like thought about it before. They're just like, in the moment, this is what I want, so I'm doing it. All those small things you do when you're like, oh, I just want this expensive coffee today and I'm going to do it, but I don't have any like budget set, you know? I just look at my account. Yep, I have money in my account. I'm going to go do this. I feel like that's
Or they
where
don't even look at their account, but you sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Like it depends on, I'm just using these as small examples of those small things where every time you have to make a decision, like, oh, do I have enough to do this? Can I do this? For all those tiny decisions that would
Dumb
be,
things that you have better places to spend your
yeah,
decision making power on.
for
Yeah.
sure. And I think that's where people are like, how on earth am I supposed to like, that attitude you were talking about where it's like, this is out of my control. It is what it is. Life is happening to me. It's like, no,
Hmm.
actually, you are completely in control. You're just maybe doing it inefficiently, or maybe you're
Yeah.
not making decisions in the right order, or whatever the
Yeah,
case
you're not thinking
is.
about it ahead of time because again, you talk about like paying for delivery fees and be willing like you can set your budget for stuff to be
Like
whatever it
that.
is
Yes. I'm not saying any of those things are inherently wrong. At all. I don't care what people spend their money on at all. It's just that
as long
if,
as it's a decision that you've
yeah,
made ahead of time and it's not just a reaction to the way that you're feeling in the moment,
right. Yeah. Because
right? And
that's where
that's
you
the
fall into
important thing.
bad patterns of,
Yeah.
and that's where you realize you wake up one day and think, I have nothing to show for, I have this income and I have nothing to show for it. It's because these companies, I work in marketing. I know these companies, they want you to do those things, right? Like Starbucks wants you to feel like that's your third home or something. I can't remember the third
Yeah, it was
place you visit.
yeah, yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like homework and Starbucks, basically. They
Yeah,
want you to feel
that's
like that.
yeah.
And they want you to feel special when you go get their coffee. They want you to feel like you have to do it. It's who you are. It's all these things. They're working on your behavior. If that's important to you, that's totally fine. You just have to like you'll anticipate that about yourself. And I think, of course, for me, I'm really into psychology and self awareness, and I think a lot of budgeting is knowing yourself first,
Hmm.
knowing your behaviors, like you said, spender saver, right? Like whatever. What is important to you? All of these things are actually you kind of have to know yourself, and everybody thinks they know themselves like very well, but I would say a lot of people don't actually pay attention to either the things that are important to them or the way they make
Or they're
decisions.
not honest with themselves, right?
Yeah, that's another one. People, like
Well,
we've talked about, the truth sometimes hurts, but it is. But at the same time, it's that kind of paradigm where, depending on how you look at it, yeah, the truth might kind of hurt, but at the same time, now you've opened your eyes and you can change things. You can make decisions differently.
or you decide that this is really important to you and you see the trade-offs, and that's great.
Yes,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
but like, to do it honestly, like Starbucks is a great example. People like, I love it when like supposed finance gurus talk about like, oh, just like don't buy
Cut out the
Starbucks, like cut out the
coffee.
coffee and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And let's say it is $5 a day, and that does add up. If you were in this income bracket, $5 a day is not going to be what puts you over the edge or not.
Mm-hmm.
Systematically, not allocating funds to that and knowing what you're sacrificing for that will. There, $5 to $10 a day that doesn't matter.
It's
It
kind
really
of irrelevant
doesn't.
almost. It's like
It is.
if you know that information, which you will know before. If you're like, I'm an avid Starbucks person, I'm collecting my stars. Man, I don't know if I don't know if any of this stuff is allowed to be talked about. Like copyright and stuff.
Yes, I'm sure it's
anyways,
fine.
whatever. But or like Tim's, you buy your coffee out every day. You know that about yourself. To change that behavior is a lot of a bigger ask than to say, okay, because I like doing that, I'm going to make sure I plan for it.
Yeah.
My food budget, if that's how you do it, that's how we do it, is going to consider the fact that I want to spend $7 to $10 a day on that outing, right?
Cool. Make sure you do it ahead of time.
Exactly. And maybe you're like, okay, on the weekends when my friends want to go out and party, I'm not going to do it like one weekend a month or whatever. Like,
Or not. Maybe you can do it all.
maybe you can,
You
but
know-
you know it when you do the numbers.
Exactly. It's not about the numbers. It's about the process of making sure that you're calculating this ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for the spenders. I've spent more time talking about the spenders.
Yeah, we're not
but
trying to hate on the spenders.
I'm not trying to hate on the spenders. They keep the economy going, because if it was not for them, it would not be
Thank you,
it's not be as
spenders.
thriving. So, just this is an important income bracket to nail those habits and to make those decisions. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was that the way that you are saving, the way that you're putting money aside, should not be reliant on one-off influxes of cash. So a really common thing that people do in this income range is they will live off their salary, and then they will say, okay, I'm going to invest my bonus.
Yeah.
No. No. You invest your salary, you live off the smaller amount of your salary, and then when the bonus comes, you go blow it.
Oh,
Do not rely on bonuses, on influxes of cash that may not happen to reach your financial goals.
that's very fair, though, I think, because you're going at it by saying almost something that is obviously building your net worth is a priority. Like that
Yes.
should be a priority. So if you're saying, oh, after everything else is done, I'll build my net worth, it's never going to happen.
And no, it doesn't happen. There are companies out there that it's so dumb. So there's one company, I'm not going to name names or anything, but a specific company that they provide their employees a percentage check, right? Retirement spending. It's like let's say you have an income of $200,000, and they'll give you a check for 7% of that at the end of the year. Not into RSPs or anything. You can do it at what you want.
Just
But it's
cash.
just cash. It's for retirement savings. So they say to the person, hey, this check for retirement savings, go save it for retirement. I am telling you, I wish I had the numbers, but I know just the
People are like,
the situations that
money.
I've seen, they do not go and then put that money into an RSP.
Yeah.
and then go match it themselves. So they have a 14% matched pension. No. They don't do that. They go and they spend it on stuff. There's always something. They might go put part of it, right? They get a check for $25,000. They might go put a small part of it towards it. And then there's an excuse. There's always an excuse for the rest of it. Oh, well, we can go on vacation with this funds, and because there's a large influx of cash. Don't do it. No, don't do it. Not okay with it. Make sure you're saving systematically in a proper way that meets all your financial goals. And then them big bonuses, them big one-off checks, if you are a spender, then you can go blow it, right? You need to make a system that will work for you, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Right? And at this point, you need to know this about yourself. Because a saver, you can do that. I'm telling you right now, if you're a saver, you can do that. But you'll be doing both anyway. You'll be like,
saving
it. You'll be saving every paycheck.
What if I?
Yeah, and then
what if I need a new car?
And then you get the influx of $25,000, and then you'll find a way to make it $30,000 because you've still been saving too much cash. Like it's just you have the complete
just
opposite
add it
problem.
to your savings account.
Yeah, you complete opposite problem. So that's a big thing that in this age gap absolutely should not be relying on influxes.
Income.
In this income bracket, yeah, should not be
you
relying
said
on
age something. So I just
the income. You should not be relying on bonuses and stuff to meet your financial goals. And then one other thing I did want to make a comment on was combining finances. So I already mentioned that, like me and you, we have separate accounts that we can spend out of. That we determine how much we get at the beginning of the year. Again, this is all set out in advance. All of our accounts are joint, though. Mm-hmm. So this is, I would say, when it comes to being in a committed relationship, I could not imagine not being able to trust my partner.
Yeah, I think that's like a much bigger problem.
You do. And I would say if you're in this situation, you should be looking at getting counseling.
Mm-hmm.
I would say
when you say in this situation where you can't trust
trust your partner, right? Like your partner is on, when it feels like you are on two different pages, where you feel like you're having to hide money from your partner because they're just going to spend it all. Like there is something fundamentally wrong with their relationship. Most marriages break down over money issues. Mm-hmm. And this income bracket is not immune to that. I've seen people below much larger incomes than this. It's if you want to achieve big financial goals and your partner is not on the same wavelength, it's very likely you'll just grow apart.
Yeah.
Or you'll be stuck in an unhappy relationship.
Yeah, because somebody's going to be unhappy.
Somebody's going to be unhappy, right? Like and this is, if I could wave a magic wand for everybody's relationship and have them be open and honest and willing to talk about money in a non-judgmental way, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, for sure.
It really is an area that it's so sad when I see couples not on the same page about money, because it doesn't have to be this emotionally charged conversation.
I think what happens is people will add, this is again, sorry, a little bit of a psychology thing where people, when they look at something, they add meaning to it. Mm-hmm. So a common thing is to say like, I'm overspending. That in itself is just a statement. I'm overspending. That's the truth. I'm spending too much. But then what happens is the emotion, they're telling themselves, that means I'm impulsive or this. Like I'm trying to think of words that you would attach.
Well, it'd be like, I'm an idiot. I can't control things. I'm a child. I'm like,
you start guilting and shaming yourself.
Yeah.
And that always translates. It always translates when you talk about something and emotions are coming up. There's something else going on where you're either creating meaning that isn't there, or you're right, like you need counseling or whatever. Like maybe there is some of that, but you can still change it.
Mm-hmm. And this age gap is prone to that.
You keep saying age gap.
Age gap. This income range is prone to that because people in this income age are typically good at what they do. They're in like a growing part of their career and they feel like they should know.
Yes, I think that's a big one too. Yeah. People think, again, like I've watched people talk to you. And of course I know Trey very well. I want to say better than anybody else because I'm married to you, but and I've watched people talk to you and I can see them almost trying to impress you sometimes, or to be like, look, I'm not like the rest of them. I know what's going on. Like, me and you, we, like, you don't worry. I'm not stupid with money or whatever. But I just know you're like, first of all, I don't want you to feel that way with me. I can tell you want to help always, even when you're teaching people, like, you want to help. It's just that I think people don't want to feel dumb for not
Yeah.
knowing. It's like,
yeah, because they feel so much guilt, right? It's they're like, especially when, to me, it's so easy and obvious, but it's like that with anybody that has a career in a field. You
yeah,
become an
you're
expert
like,
in
I
that
do
field,
this every day.
and it's easy, right? And then you think to yourself, you look back and you think, why can't everybody do this? But you don't realize that you're an expert in this field, so it is become easy for you. You would not expect, if you was a world-renowned engine designer, that person would not expect somebody to come off the street to be as good as them.
Yeah.
But in
Not
my
everybody
industry,
builds engines. Not everybody
No.
has, right? I think you give an example of like someone who does that or works with cars and is very like high up in their career in that regard, whatever, like a mechanic or something, or building engines, and you know all these intricacies and stuff with the engine. And someone walks up to you and is like, hey, I know what's up. I drive a car.
Yeah.
And they're like, that would never
not
happen.
the same. It would never happen. But people do it with finances because they just believe, they use money all the time. So they just believe they should understand all the ins and outs and the way that it relates, with the emotional connections, and relating that to the investing. Like, people just assume they should know this. And it's ludicrous. It's crazy to think in a world that has been made so complicated that people would just know this.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have an interest in it. So, but people do that to themselves. They just think to themselves, I'm a doctor, like I'm great at what I do. I make 800,000, which we'll get into a different episode, but I make a ton of money. And they feel like they should just know how to manage money, like wealth management properly. And it's just like, it's a different skill set. It really is. And it is something that you have to learn. And this budgeting at this level is the first step to learning how to manage that properly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as I've already said, like, spending money, not an issue. It's like, spend it as long as it is a choice. As long as you have the systems in place to meet your other goals, as long as you know what you are giving up to spend it and you're okay with it,
Yeah.
then spend it, like, don't feel shame over it. But that's only once you've done all the work. And like, a challenge I often give to savers is like, to spend it, like, either to be giving money, to be giving more, like, to try to help with their attitude towards money, because it's the same principle. It's like, you need balance. You always need balance. And it's just, this age gap is when keep saying age gap, this income bracket is when people start to feel like, hey, I've made it. Like, I've reached big goals. I'm in the top, I think it's probably the top 5% of incomes in Canada. Like, you've reached this, you've done well, you've done great. It's just when all the bad habits come out. So you want to make sure, if you're in this range, you got it nailed down, because you will look back 10 years later and be like, either you squandered it and you wasted it, or heck yeah, I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I'm happy with where my funds went, And either way, you just want to be okay with the decisions that you've made. And that doesn't come from burying your house in the sand, burying your head in the sand. It comes with making decisions, being intentional, and owning what you don't know, be willing to learn what you need to know, and just moving on with life. Enjoy it. Like, it's just,
It really is that simple. It's so easy, right, guys?
So easy. It is. It doesn't have to be hard. How much time do you spend on budgeting a year?
Oh, it's true. Like, the budgeting part of it, it's just, when people have all these feelings and behaviors,
sure.
and they're like, oh my gosh,
For
this is
sure.
overwhelming. But it is one of those things where it's like, just start here and go.
And the first time it took us a little longer. And it takes me, like, when I'm teaching somebody this, depending on how they're doing it already, it takes me, 3-4 hours of going through it with them. But it now takes us less than an hour a year, right? to do a budget for the entire year. Then don't have to think about it again. Like it is not something that I want to be spending my mental real estate to deal with. So
At all.
I feel like this episode went on a
Really
lot
long.
longer. It was a lot longer than I wanted it to be. Anyway, we'll cut it off there. And
Should we offer any resources in the show notes? Like maybe some, like, would that be helpful if we talked about like certain, like, I guess we use certain things for like our food spending, or
I
is
think
that
we'll do a different episode entirely on the actual budgeting process that we use, and like maybe walk through like the types of things we have in our house account and the way we have things automated. And
yeah, I think that would be really
I
helpful.
think
So
we'll do that. I'll also maybe, because think about our budget, like we use Excel and we don't even use like a template for it. It's literally, I'm telling you, when when I say
it
we keep it
doesn't look
simple,
pretty.
we keep it so simple. No big budgeting spread, nothing. It's just a very simple Excel, names of stuff in column A and amounts in column B, and a sum and some
Yeah.
automatic transactions at the end of it. It's
Functions
so
or
simple.
whatever.
So simple. But anyway, yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll do a specific episode on that in the next like few episodes, because the next one I wanted to do was the higher income. So the next episode will be budgeting, but for a higher income of about $400,000 to $800,000, because things do change in that as well, because what you can do does drastically increase. So we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Perfect.
Okay.
Stay tuned then.
See you next one. Bye.
Bye.